watches over us all. And so we are charged to cleanse the mutant, the heretic, the alien. We must not falter. We are his sword. We are his wrath. Even in the face of death, we shall not submit. Suffering is our prayer. Faith is our armor. In battle, he offers us redemption.
A trap!
Look out!
For the Empire! Over here! Follow me! Yeah, down the feet!
Our Imperium is besieged. Across 1,000 worlds, we fight for our survival. Those that would tear humanity down are legion. Our forces are few. Our enemies many. There is no respite. There is no mercy. And in our darkest hour, a spiteful universe awakens forgotten evils to break us. The galaxy burns, yet still we stand, the last bulwark against the terror. And while we draw breath, we will fight. For in this new dark age,
It is human nature to seek culpability in a time of tragedy. It is a sign of strength to cry out against fate, rather than to bow one's head and succumb. Inevitably, many shall fault the hands upon the sword which felled Typhon, the Ordo Malleus. But the Inquisition merely performs the duty of its office. To further fear them is redundant. To hate them, heretical. Those more sensible will place responsibility with those who forced the hands of the Inquisition. With some fortune, they may foster this hatred into purpose. My chapter is in ruins. The sector is at war. Its worlds under siege. Chaos spreads, consumes us all. Here, we will make our final stand.
Inquisitor's log. Classified report. Scheduled for later transmission. I am closing on the source of the inquisitorial distress signal I was assigned to investigate. The coordinates I received from the Caligari Conclave led me to a desolate system. There were many delays during the journey. The intensity of the Caligari warp surges is beyond anything I've experienced. These anomalies are spreading through the subsector like a tidal wave. The distress signal has an ancient encryption used by the Holy Orders. It is authentic, but extremely old. The signal is coming from a battered fortress monastery that was likely spat from the warp when the tide of the surges swept through the sector. There is no response to our hailing signals.
Inquisitor, this is your captain speaking. I'm still trying to hail the monastery, but I get no response.
The hull looks intact, though. I think it was simply abandoned a very long time ago.
Then what do you expect to find over there?
Something that once belonged to the Inquisition, and lots of empty holes.
Sounds exciting. I've instructed your pilots to land on the hangar deck.
Stand by and wait for my signal.
Company command! First platoon! We've lost the square! We can't hold it!
I accept these burdens as the Imperium bleeds. I accept these burdens, knowing no fear. I accept these burdens as an angel of the Emperor. I sheathe my form in this second skin. This veil of machine muscle and false nerves. I stand firm against the alien. The mutant. The heretic. I grant no mercy. I give no ground.
From the sky, brothers!
planet is ours, witch.
No. This planet is theirs.
There are places in this universe where madness reigns. Dominions of evil, where the taint of the other world trickles through. The Martyr is one of these places, and fate has brought me to this haunted ship. The Martyr has been drifting in the warp for millennia. The wandering fortress monastery of Uther Tiberius has become an enigma I need to solve. I have sacrificed everything to find this ship, and I'm still paying the price of my curiosity. I've been hunting relentlessly for the Martyr since I pledged myself to this cause. Driven by my sacred oath, I've been roaming the Caligari sector for decades. I killed. I bargained. I made pacts and broke them, only to succeed where others have failed. And I'm still paying the price for my curiosity. I have lost so much. I have lost my mentor. I keep losing my allies. I've been stranded on a derelict filled with the filth of Nurgle and the failed experiments of Uther Tiberius. But I must prevail. Uther believed that the flesh was only a vessel. He thrusted his chosen ones into vile darkness and prayed to the God Emperor to turn them into holy weapons. He might have stopped along the way, and it falls upon me to finish what he had begun. I believe that the Martyr holds the key to our salvation. There is something hidden on this ship that could change the future of the Imperium. I will cleanse this place with holy fire and righteous wrath. I will be transformed by pain and faith. I will find the secret of Uther Tiberius.
Cyprus, and as an errant spire impacted between them, Farseer Maka came to understand that she was now part of larger events that were unfolding around her. Cutscenki's armies clashed ferociously before the gate to the altar of the spear, seeking to secure their master's claim to the weapon. Unbeknownst to the warriors below, Inquisitor Holt, unable to take possession of the spear, sought to preclude anyone from obtaining it, and indiscriminately unleashed his powerful orbital cannon on the armies below.
Prophecy comes to pass! The way is open!
But the bombardment had consequences unforeseen by the Inquisitor, smashing the gate to the altar and opening the way to the spear. To Kyle, this was no accident, but the prophecy coming to pass.
Together,
We can finally see. Farseer Maka divined that the prophecy and the spear and the entire enterprise were an elaborate trap. Even then, the spear of Cain, for which so much blood had been spilled, lay within reach of those that sought it. Gorguts arrived first. Kaya challenged him, and in a swift battle, vanquished him. In his moment of ascendant victory, the trap was sprung on Kai, and it was his blood that was spilled by the spear. It was not the weapon of an Eldar god, but a trinket to lure us like lambs to a blood sacrifice, a ritual to revive an ancient evil and unleash him from the ice. Released from dormancy and then forged with blood, the demon arose. The Eldar warlord Kraj was obsessed with the prophecy Cain, and sent his army to Cyprus to await the re-emergence of the wandering world. But Kaya's army met unexpected resistance from the local orcs. Kaya sent the Farseer Maka to assist his forces. Based upon her words, Maka did not trust the prophecy. Suspected there were sinister forces at work. Their fates seemingly intertwined. Maka and Angelos faced each other, their history lingering between them. Once they had been allies, an entente that was split by betrayal, and now, on this day, they were enemies. Maka under orders from Kaya to kill Angelos. But the battle was to be short-lived and inconclusive. For on that day, at the same time as they struggled, Acheron, the wandering world of the Eldar prophecy, emerged from the warp after 5,000 years. The impact of the ship shattered the mantle of Acheron, smashing it into a multitude of fragments. Those that did not find means to escape perished. Though reduced in stature, the demon was not killed. Core of his dominion remained. The demon defeated and the prophecy broken. The alliance was dissolved, and the wayfarers went their separate ways.
Now that we perform our charge. In fealty of the God Emperor, our undying Lord, and by the grace of the Golden Throne, I declare exterminatus upon the Imperial world of Typhon Primaris. I hereby sign the death warrant of an entire world, and consign 1 billion souls to oblivion. May Imperial justice account in all balance. The Emperor protects.
This is Diomedes. I'm on Cyrene. Kyrus is dead. You must halt the exterminatus.
And what of Angelos?
We have rebuilt, and once more are great. We have forged a chapter not warped in enigma, but one the Emperor can look upon with pride.
This has been dark work, Diomedes. Kyrus left much corrupted, and cleansing had to be both thorough and merciless. Yet now, we are pure and noble.
It has been a necessary act, though. Our chapter lives, free of darkness and corruption at long last. I know I cannot serve the chapter in the same manner as before. But you, Gabriel, chapter master is fitting. None shall find you wanting.
The Imperium of Man. A galaxy-spanning empire in decline. Once, humanity stood on the brink of taming the stars. A golden age of light and glory beckoned. But men have ever been prone to temptation and lured to stubborn pride. Now the Space Marines, intended as the vanguard of mankind's ascension, fight ceaselessly to prevent their father's work sliding into ruin. As war rages, colossal warships slip anchor to smite the foe with the righteous fury of the faithful. Such vessels are both Imperium's stalwart shield and gleaming spear, shining in the impenetrable dark of space. It takes more than a man to command such a warship. It takes a hero, strong in will and unflinching of purpose. Without such heroes, the Emperor's light would surely wane. Admiral Spire is one such hero, forged in the hallways of the vaunted Schola Progenium, tempered in the cursed days of Abaddon's 12th Black Crusade. Long has he been lost, but now, freed from the Immaterium's clutches, he returns to shed his blood in the Emperor's cause once more. Any who seek to sweep mankind from the stars must first reckon with Spire. Many have sought his head, all have failed. But one hero alone may not be enough to change the Imperium's fortunes. It will take thousands, even millions, for mankind to reclaim its footing in the Eye of Terror's gaping maw. And millions more to hold it. Such a task will not be easy. Cadia is demon-hunted rubble, and the Imperium itself is scarred, torn in two by the cicatrix maledictum. But it is the nature of heroes to triumph in adversity, and of faith to flourish in the dark. The Imperium of Man, a million worlds scattered across an uncaring galaxy. A million worlds forever under threat from the machinations of cursed traitors and perfidious Xenos. It is an empire consumed by war, by the very battle for survival itself, for there is no peace amongst the stars. The Space Marines, genetically modified warriors who know no fear, spearhead every counter-assault, taking the battle to the heart of the foe. From the smoke-wreathed horror of Adeptus Mechanicus Forge Worlds sail warships of fearsome potency, their weapons blessed by the Machine God, and their crews dedicated to the Omnissire's holy cause. The Schola Progenium molds callow flesh into leaders, officers of the Imperial Navy, the greatest fleet ever to span the stars. These heroes dedicate their life to the Imperium's defense, confronting the ceaseless threat of chaos wherever it manifests. The war against the dark gods and their worshippers is the eternal battle for the soul of mankind, for the future of the galaxy itself. It is the forge upon which true heroes are struck and legends tempered. Admiral Spire is one such legend, savior of the Gothic sector, vanquisher of War Master Abaddon's 12th Black Crusade. For centuries he has been lost, trapped in the shifting tides of the Immaterium, while in pursuit of the hated foe. Such travails would drive an ordinary man to madness, or into the clutches of the very gods he once opposed. But Spire is no ordinary man, and his time is coming once more.
We're out. Praise the Emperor, but I can see the stars again. Receiving distress signals. The region's alive with them. According to the timestamps, Admiral, the year, it's 999 M41. We've been lost in the warp for over 800 years. And Cadia, the hymnals report that it's been destroyed, sir. There's a lot of confusion out there, sir. And Admiral, Cadia fell at Abaddon's hand.
Then we are returned not a moment too soon. Navigator, Chart a course to the Cadian system. We may be an age too late to join the battle, but revenge is still within our grasp.
Warp engines online. Geller field holding.
This is Admiral Spire to all Imperial vessels. Rally at coordinates 154554. This isn't over.
At long last, at the cost of countless millions of lives, Abaddon the Despoiler finally met his end, and a debt owed since the darkest days of the Horus Heresy was at last repaid. But his death could not undo the legacy of devastation he had wrought. The Imperium would face other battles against the Dark Gods. This was no ending, but a new beginning. Cadia had fallen, but its name and legend lived on.
Warriors of mankind, the Emperor has tested us, and we have not been found wanting. By his will and our faithfulness, we have journeyed through darkness, through fire, and now emerge into the brilliant light of a new dawn. But that light shines only so long as we keep it fed. Through our sacrifice, through the valor of the Imperial Navy, mankind shall endure. There is no peace in these stars, only a crucible of war in which our faith is forever tested. Our service we owe to our comrades. Our lives we spend for the Imperium. And our souls, now and forevermore, belong to the Emperor.
With the Emperor's foremost son as Lord Commander of the Imperium, a new hope stirred. Long ago, before mankind was even a footnote in galactic history, the Necrons ruled the stars. But the march of time and grievous war forced them into hibernation. For 60 million years, they slumbered, untold legions entombed in deathless slumber, waiting for the hour in which their rule would once more shape the galaxy. Now, at long last, that time has arrived. With the coming of Abaddon's Black Crusade, life stirs beneath dead walls. The mad pharaoh Kefrek rouses the Neferu dynasty to war. Ships of living metal blacken the stars, immune to the perils of an uncaring void, harnessing technology far beyond mankind's grasp. These vessels bestride the stellar wastes of the gods of old, reuniting the sundered worlds of the Neferu in a single glorious purpose. But Kefrek's plans go deeper than mere reconquest. The expansion of Dominion is but one step along the path that will either see him master of all he surveys, or the world's bordering the Isle Terror reduced to ash. In the deepest eons of history, before mankind had even emerged from primordial ooze, the Necrontyr dominated the galaxy. But unity receded, even as the bounds of their domain expanded. Fearing the collapse of their civilization, the leaders of the Necrontyr assailed the Old Ones, seeking to wrest from them the secret of eternal life. The galaxy blazed with the fires of war. Too late, the Necrontyr realized the impossibility of victory. Thus they embraced damnation. The Star Gods, the Catan, walked amongst them, offering prized immortality and long-sought victory. So ended the Necrontyr of old. Betrayed by the ambition of Zarek, the Silent King, they were dragged in chains to the fires of biotransference, transmuted from fragile and radiation-cursed bodies to forms more suited for the ravages of war. Stripped of flesh, of mortality, even of their souls, the Necrontyr passed from history. Only the Necrons remained. Now enslaved to the will of the Catan, the Necrons at last altered the course of the war. Cosmic battle lines buckled and at last broke beneath a tide of immortal fury. As the last of the Old Ones fell, Zarek led what remained of his people in revolt against their Catan masters. The Star Gods were overthrown, shattered into shards, and forced to serve those they had once ruled. But centuries of war had taken their toll on both the Necrons and the galaxy. To preserve what remained of their empire, the Necrons retreated to colossal stasis tombs, to sleep away millennia while their domain healed and their rivals passed into dust. Freed from the shackles of time, the passing millennia meant nothing to them. 60 million years have passed, and the ancient tombs are once more stirring to life. The Necrons, forgotten by all but the Eldari, are returning to claim what was theirs. They will abide no trespassers. With the awakening of their Therion, Kefrek the Unbroken, the Neferu dynasty arises once more. Undying legions stirred in the forgotten dirt of 100 worlds. The reconquest of the galaxy has begun.
Oh, Marco. Let the legions die. Oh, Marco. Unleash the power of the Neferu. Oh, Marco. Our worlds are infested. Scour them clean. This is my hour.
You prove yourself quite the ruler, Abakan. You understand what Abaddon and Kefrek did not. That madness and vainglory lose more crowns than they win. Have a care you don't forget this lesson. The Eldari are humble, at least for now. For a dying race, they are rather resilient. If only they'd learned their place. One Theron falls, another rises, as it should be. All that remains is to give the order and claim your destiny.
Activate the throne.
The Tyranids, the great devourer. In all the stars, there has never been a Xenos race more inimical to the survival of mankind. Indeed, they are the bane of all other life. Their origins are but poorly understood, the stuff of rumor and supposition and nightmare. The adepts of Mars believe that a single unknowable consciousness guides the hive fleets about their voracious purpose. This consciousness knows only unquenchable hunger. Hive ships serve as synapse nodes. spreading the influence of the Tyranid hive mind across the stars. Such is the hive mind's suffocating will that the warp is distorted for light years around. Confusion and terror spread before the hive fleets advance, as dreams darken and madness spreads. As the hive fleets advance, the suffocating embrace quenches the Emperor's light and drowns doomed worlds in psychic shadow. Foul creatures known as gene stealers infiltrate unvigilant worlds. A patriarch arises from the population's subverted flesh and projects a psychic beacon to draw the hive fleet ever closer. As the gene stealer cult grows in power, they emerge from the shadows of their benighted world. Civil war rages, shaking the planet asunder. Then the skies darken with spores and the hive fleet's voracious tendrils. The cultists exult at the fulfillment of prophecy and their ascension into the light. Their delusions die with them. There are many hive fleets, each but a facet of the immeasurable Tyranid threat. Leviathan is the greatest, and has wrought ruin on a scale never before witnessed. Though the great rift arising from Cadia's ruin has severed many of Leviathan's tendrils, many more remain. Even now, one is surging towards the Eye of Terror. And so, the 13th Black Crusade ended neither in victory for the Imperium or for chaos, but with the endless hunger of Hive Fleet Leviathan. Admiral Spire's fleet, scattered and leaderless, was swiftly consumed. And then there was silence for a time. The galaxy held its breath, hoping that the Leviathan's hunger was at last sated. It did so in vain.
Admiral! We're reading signatures exiting Cadian space!
Impossible! Nothing survived! Emperor's light, no!
The astropath is convulsing! We can't get a hymnal to Terra!
Blessed Emperor! Get us out of here, all speed! They must be warned! Someone must!
Orcs are amongst the deadliest of the Xenos races. Multitudinous, belligerent, and possessed of brutal cunning, they spread across the stars like a green tide. Even in the war-riven sectors around the Eye of Terror, forever beset by chaos, they rank amongst the greatest threats. As battle raged between the Imperium and the dread forces of chaos, the Orcs gained a foothold upon ravaged worlds, using them as staging areas from which they could slingshot deeper into Imperial territory. Orc technology is ramshackle, but terrifyingly effective, combining mismatched components, scavenged gear, and intuitive leaps to forge weapon systems whose inner workings baffle the most experienced of the Imperium's adepts, but lack for nothing in sheer unbridled firepower. In much the same way, an Orc warlord can take a multitude of squabbling clans and forge them into an unstoppable army. Such a war has the sheer unbridled might necessary to conquer the stars themselves, leaving naught but rubble in its wake. As its momentum grows, so do its numbers grow, swollen by green skins drawn to the promise of bloodlust, teeth, and loot. The fortress oubliette of Nemesis Tessera was once the Inquisition's most closely guarded secret. A bastion of knowledge and rigor, and a convocation point for the Imperium's most trusted servants. No more. The onset of the 13th Black Crusade set the world awash with treachery and war. Though Nemesis Tessera's dread secrets were stolen, the world itself endured, thanks to the heroism of the Space Wolves and Inquisitor Zero. From the doomed hive world of Chemolomus to the seditious penal world of Avara's Gulag, the sector remains crippled by corruption and heresy. Yet in the forsaken fields of the Obsidian Depths, mutation, madness, and all their damned siblings are curiously absent. It is as if the Obsidian Depths border onto something not yet adequately defined, or perhaps waiting to be discovered. The Forge World Agrippina itself would have fallen millennia ago, but for its formidable defenses, now bolstered by the Cadian diaspora. Even with Cadia lying in ruins, its scions stand firm beside Agrippina. And it is well that this is so, for the world's technological wonders have proven an irresistible lure to Chaos warpsmiths. The Agrippina sector is a linchpin in the Cadian Gate's defenses, a laboring manufactorum that feeds nearby worlds with weaponry and much-needed munitions. Wealth abounds within its borders, and it supplies the Astra Militarum with many of its finest regiments. Bellis Corona is a vital anchorage, serving as the Imperial Navy's primary base in the Segmentum Obscurus. Over the millennia, its importance has only grown, and it now acts as the Imperium's administrative capital for the entire Segmentum. In the prelude of the 13th Black Crusade, the arch-traitor Titus descended on Bellis Corona, spreading a devastating contagion named in whispers as the Plague of Unbelief. Despite Typhus' assault and the loss of billions of lives, the sector held firm. But in recent days, Psychers stationed in Bellis Corona have suffered total collapse, their minds torn asunder by some strange and terrible shadow moving through the immaterium. This can only bode ill. Chinchar is the mineral heart of the Segmentum Obscurus, feeding the manufactorums of Agrippina and a dozen other sectors. There are few truly colonized planets in this sector, as worlds rich in mineral resource tend towards the inhospitable. The citizens of Chinchar are likely to be slaves or penal workers, living out miserable lives in arid mines or aboard freighters. But for some renegades, there are other options. Resnor, the last resting place of vessels whose fury once shuddered the stars. A world rich in resource for those in need, and fraught with peril besides, for it is not only sunlight that caresses the planet's surface, but the toxic emissions from 1,000 reactors still trapped in decaying orbit. To the eye of Terra's galactic southwest lies the barren expanse of the Sentinel worlds. The Imperium has only the sparsest foothold in this region, and many mysteries abound. There are so many rumors, so many drunken spaces tales, that it had become impossible to separate fact from fiction. But the feeling remains, some ancient, buried instinct, that something terrible lies sleeping amidst the sentinel worlds. And it would be best not to rouse it. A harsh realm of perpetual gloom that breeds a harsh people. With a dark and polluted sky, Medusa's sun rarely reaches the planet's surface. It is a world of highly unstable geology, with earthquakes and volcanic eruptions constantly reshaping the mountains and seas. The world's resources have long been mined to exhaustion, plundered by the Telstarax, an ancient space station that hangs in orbit to this day. Medusa, then, is a world trapped in the past, marred by old wounds and burdened with pride and fading glory. Yet it remains a powerful symbol, and a weighty prize to he who would claim it. What glories Belial 4 once knew are long behind it, destroyed a millennia ago by the onset of chaos. Yet it remains almost holy ground for the alien Eldari, who once counted this now barren waste as a jewel within their star-spanning empire. Caliban, a world torn asunder by betrayal, and haunted by the treacheries of the ancient past. What remains is shrouded in mystery, and shielded from the prying eyes of the Inquisition by the Dark Angels who once called this world home. But war has a way of bringing secrets to light. As conflict rages across the sector, who knows what glimmers of truth might flare beneath the light of dying stars. With warp storms rendering astropathic communications erratic, Segmentum Obscura's High Command continued experiencing difficulty coordinating its forces. Imperial commanders were advised that communications received from distant sources were not to be trusted. Scattered reports indicated that, in addition to chaos incursions, Scarus nurtured an increasing greenskin menace. Eventually, High Command took this threat seriously. They acted too late. What would become known as the Green Crusade had grown from a few scattered and disorganized tribes to a mighty war that threatened to overwhelm the Imperium's embattled holdings. With the capture of Forge World Mordax Prime, the Green Crusade's momentum redoubled. Survivors from the rechristened Mordaka Prime report seeing hundreds of Gargants being fashioned from the debris, and skies thick with the choking black smoke of Orc cruisers. It can only be a matter of time before other worlds share Mordax's fate. The Skellus subsector is located to the galactic west of the Eye of Terror. Its capital planet, Skellus, is a feral world and was once the homeworld of the Sons of Malice. Once loyal space marines, they turned on the Imperium in the years leading to the 13th Black Crusade. The original name of the Sons of Malice has been lost to Imperial record, but it is speculated that they were one of the 20 chapters of the Astartes Precis, a founding created with the express purpose of safeguarding the region surrounding the Eye of Terror. The cold and unforgiving wastes of Skellus provide the Sons of Malice no shortage of barbaric recruits. Indeed, the Sons' foul religious practices trace their origins to those of the tribesmen from which they sprang. A scouring conducted by the Cadian 331st was thought to have ended these grisly traditions. Certainly the natives were thought exterminated, and the Sons of Malice driven off. But rumors have surfaced suggesting that the world is not so empty as was believed. It would seem that the Sons of Malice still stake a claim to this miserable planet. They will surely do whatever they must to make it theirs once more. The Eidolon sector lies at the heart of the Eye of Terror, at the point where reality bleeds away into the formless tides of the Immaterium. Stronghold of the Despoiler, headwater of every Black Crusade, there is no mortal law here that is not imposed by cruelty, and no physical law beyond the whim of the Dark Gods. The Plague Planet, home of Mortarion and his Death Guard traitor legion. This is a world of 10,000 contagions, where skies weep with pus and seas teem with disease. Sortiaris is the current homeworld of the Thousand Suns Traitor Legion. Ringed by the screaming souls of the betrayed dead and blasted by the tides of the warp. It is a planet no sane man would tread without cause, or at least without a numberless army at his back. Oliensis, throne of decadence, and bane of many a righteous soul. The world is a living perversion, a deathless monument to the pursuit of pleasure above all else. Though the world's origins are argued over by the adepts of terror, it is known that at least one Space Marine chapter met its demise on the Oliensis surface. Reports suggest that those who fall to Oliensis' embrace are reborn as blasphemous mirrors of their prior selves, shackled to the will of Slaanesh. Drakasi, Khorne's slaughter pit. Only the strongest survive the crucible of its arenas, and then only until the favor of the gods turns against them once more. Eidolon itself was once an Eldari world, but now lies shackled by the madness of chaos, with an empire dedicated to each of the chaos powers constantly vying with the others for dominance. It is said that there are more ways to die on Eidolon than anywhere else. Though as no one ever returns, this can be considered little more than rumor. The Cadian sector is amongst the most vital of the Imperium's defenses, guarding as it does the only known navigable route out of the Eye of Terror. So long as the Cadian Gate holds, the Imperium remains secure. After 10,000 years of defiance, Cadia finally fell during the opening stages of the 13th Black Crusade. Now it is little more than an honored memory, and an example to those who strive in the service of mankind.
Planet Typhon orbits a star on the outer edge of subsector Aurelia. Its lush jungle canopy shrouding it in mystery. Among this beauty lie the keys to our salvation, and the roots of our destruction. At the heart of the Tyranid hive lies the reclamation pool. We must have a sample of this purified essence. With it, we may revive Captain Thule. With it, we may develop weapons against the Hive Fleet itself. Tyranids have a simple and terrible agenda, Commander. Left unchecked, they will kill and consume every living thing on the planet. Our only hope of stopping the Tyranids is to strike at the heart of the Hive Fleet itself. For us to do this, you must first accomplish 3 critical tasks. You must locate and secure the astronomic array hidden on planet Typhon. Only its precise scans will allow us to analyze the Hive Fleet and locate its weaknesses. You must also obtain a sample of the Hive Fleet's biotoxins. Only a pure gene sample will allow us to develop a poison to strike at the Hive Fleet. And you must secure access to Angel Forge on planet Meridian. Only this ancient forge's vast manufacturing capabilities will allow us to produce weapons with which to deliver our poison. Each of these tasks pits your handful against untold billions. But failure means the utter annihilation of our worlds. And a death sentence for our chapter. Meridian stands at the very heart of subsector Aurelia. Billions call its cities home. Its factories and forges are keys to victory against the Tyranids. We must not allow Meridian to fall.
Our darkest hour. Captain Thule has fallen to aliens who have escaped retribution. A massive Hive Fleet looms over our recruiting worlds. But this battle is not over.
Get Captain
Eldar.
In vengeance, I shall have no mercy.
10,000 years, the Imperium of Man has endured under the rule of the immortal Emperor. The worlds of man are scattered across the galaxy, threatened by savage aliens, heretics who defy the Emperor's will, and horrors lurking upon forgotten worlds. It is a time of endless war, selfless heroism, and blackest infamy.
Fortresses in the stars. A circle of 6, but they sleep yet, and must awaken. Ride upon the storms of chaos. Gather your rivals around you. End the scourge of 1,000 worlds. Abaddon the Despoiler, War Master of Chaos. You speak in meaningless riddles. What are the fortresses in the stars? Answer me or die now! Stop this foolishness. I have consulted with creatures far more powerful than you. We've grown, but I will remember your insolence. Take the Eye of Night. With these, the citadels will be yours to command. A chorus of 1,000,000,000 throats will cry your name in fear and hatred. The stars themselves will run red with blood. If you have the courage, War Master.
Say is true, Captain Spire. A vast Chaos fleet is massing for attack. Inquisitor Horst, are you sure of this man?
Maybe we should consider someone else.
Isn't this captain from a planet that rebelled against the Emperor's will?
Enough! His faith will be tested thoroughly.
Love the Emperor, for he is the salvation of mankind. Obey his words, for he will lead you to the bright future. Honest. Receive his sons. Tremble before his majesty.
Let us begin.
Is no ordinary foe.
I understand.
You are to be promoted to the rank of Admiral and given command of a fleet.
I will not fail you, Inquisitor.
There is much to do and little time, Admiral Spire. I fear a storm coming to the Gothic sector. One we are not yet prepared to face.
Plague the whole galaxy from end to end, with their ceaseless warring and strife.
They are a warlike, crude, and highly aggressive green-skinned Xenos race, organized in a primitive and brutal society, rooted so deeply in war that peace is utterly incomprehensible to them. Their ships are ill-kept, unreliable rust buckets, kept in operation only by the constant effort of Orc mech and their Gretchen slaves. Orc pirate attacks are brutally direct, with their ships rushing headlong towards their target, guns firing wildly as they come. They cannot be bargained with or bought, save with weapons that they will inevitably turn against those who try to blind them. Orcs have a need for speed. Their ships commonly mount a plethora of thrusters, boosters, and extra drive, usually all wired up to a prominent red button in the cockpit. From long experience, have I learned that underestimating the greenskins is a fast route to the grave. Attack is the secret of defense. Defense is the planning of an attack. Lord Admiral Ravensburg believes that we can learn something of our enemy's strategy by infiltrating a Chaos command ship recently identified by Inquisitor Horst's agents. I am to find the ship, board it, and bring back any clues I can find about the invaders' plans. Now is my chance to ensure their faith in me was not misplaced.
The purpose of this relic may yet still be a mystery, but it is now secured and protected by sworn guardians of the Inquisition. The Emperor is with us, but we must remain watchful, for Abaddon's thirst for revenge will never be slaked.
The Eldar are an ancient and arrogant alien race. Their ships appear fragile, but are highly maneuverable and equipped with powerful, sophisticated weaponry. Their vessels are protected by holofields that distort our augur readings, making them very difficult to hit. In addition, the Eldar Corsairs have captains and crews who are quite skilled at void combat. Eldar Corsairs prefer hit-and-run attacks. To counter this, use strength in numbers and compact defense. The Inquisitor suspects that the Corsairs are connected to an Eldar craft world lurking within the Graildark Nebula. Once you engage the Eldar, report any information you can gather on the craft world and the Corsairs.
World is under heavy attack! Heretics are storming our defenses! We need immediate reinforcements!
Admiral Spire.
Yes, Inquisitor.
Gather every vessel you can and travel to Ormsworld at once. You must stop Abaddon, whatever the cost. Search article known as Kraj. Do not let the despoiler claim this relic, Admiral. May the Emperor guide his gun. May the heretics feel his wrath. There are some amongst my Ordos who believe that to fight chaos, one must understand it. Whatever secrets the Eye of Night holds, they are a danger to one's very soul. A moral threat of corruption, of darkness, of heresy. The mighty Imperial Navy has kept this relic out of Abaddon's hands. And in that victory, I see the salvation of the sector. And myself. The relic is lost, the Despoiler has claimed it in his talon's grasp. I do not know what unholy purpose Abaddon has for the Hand of Darkness, but we can be assured that we now face an even greater challenge from the Chaos fleets. We must regroup. We must gird ourselves in our hatred of the enemy and trust in the Emperor that he will not forsake the Gothic sector in our darkest hour. And we cannot, must not, fail again.
The Eye of Night has fallen into the clutches of Abaddon the Despoiler. The Relic and all its dark secrets belong to the enemy. And with that, I feel the Gothic sector tremble. I fear that Abaddon's victory here seals defeat for the Imperial Navy. The Emperor protects. The only thing that the Imperial ship crews fear even more than traveling in the warp is traveling in the warp while there is a storm raging. The light of the Emperor's Astronomicon can no longer guide the navigators, and entire sectors can be isolated, preventing any help from afar. The chaos, at home in the distortion of reality, becomes an even greater threat. Even the most experienced navigators could only hope for a safe arrival at their destination. O eternal God Emperor, preserve us from the dangers of the void. Arrogance knows no bounds, but we have repaid them for their insults in blood. No longer will the Eldar Corsairs attack our convoys or raid our systems. These aliens dared to try and manipulate us into their schemes, but we of the Imperial Navy are no one's puppet. With the Eldar threat destroyed, we can now focus our efforts on our deadliest enemy, Abaddon, the Despoiler.
Can't get away from me, Umis! My secret weapons got a crumb all of you!
Admiral, the Orc must have captured the cyclonic torpedo from an ancient Imperial ship, possibly from the era of the Great Crusade. These are used for exterminatus.
The Orc horde is a beast. Destroy the head, the body dies. Without their war boss, the Orc ships become easy prey. One by one, we hunted them down
dispensing the Emperor's implacable wrath upon their Xenos vessels. Our attack scattered their ships, and the once fearsome green tide was silenced.
What can possibly justify interrupting me, Leandros?
Lord Admiral, the light of the Astronomicon shines once more. Reinforcements have been dispatched to the Gothic sector. The warp stone, it is gone. Tremble before the majesty of the Emperor, for we all walk in his immortal shadow.
My ship is closest to the Blackstone fortresses. All power to the Void Shields. I will attempt to put an end to this madness. By my fate, may the light of the Emperor spread to the farthest star. By my duty, the galaxy will belong to the righteous. By my action, the Imperial Navy shall be honored and remembered upon holy terror. For the Emperor of mankind, and for the Battle Fleet Gothic!
All ships, cancel the retreat order. The heroic sacrifice of Captain Abradol and the Flame of Purity have shut down the Blackstone fortresses. All remaining vessels, we have to board them and take control.
Our forces at Schindelgeist boarded the isolated Blackstone fortress in an attempt to recapture it. Within, there was no sign of any crew. The walls pulsed with energy, and every surface had become a deep-veined black, like the void of space. Suddenly, a high-pitched whine filled the air, and the walls became ruddy in color. A sense of panic filled the hearts, and the fortress was abandoned in haste. In the end, the fortress destroyed itself. It should have been a pleasing sight to see such destruction, yet while I cannot say just why, my heart was filled with sorrow. I could not dismiss the feeling that something magnificent had died. Who can tell what Abaddon might have done with all 6 fortresses? Some things are too dangerous to be allowed to exist. And someone decided that the Blackstone fortresses were amongst those things.
I see fortresses in the stars. A circle of 6, but they sleep yet and must be awakened.
Through the determination, courage, and loyalty of every man in the Navy, the war had been won. Billions of men had found death. Planets had been destroyed, and galaxies threatened.
We stood as one. We are the defenders of humanity. We are the Emperor's blazing sword and the Imperium's crushing fist. Hundreds of billions of hands ready to die for our mission in the cold, unforgiving space. We are the Imperial Navy.
For 10,000 years, the Eye of Terror has spewed its ageless horrors into the galaxy, gnawing at the eternal glories of the Imperium, at the very soul of mankind itself. And for every one of those 10,000 years, the fortress world of Cadia has held the gate closed, an adamantium bastion, granted strength by flesh and bone, and seeded purpose by faith in the Emperor's holy light. But as the darkness grew ever deeper, and the blaze of the Astronomicon guttered like a wind-blown candle, the Eye of Terror pulsed, its baleful energy spilling anew across the stars. With a shriek that echoed through nightmares from Medusa to Ultramar, the Black Fleet slipped its moorings. An endless tide of heretics, traitors, demons, and madmen whose desperate fealty was given over to a single damned soul. Abaddon the Despoiler, inheritor of the arch-traitor Horus's reviled legacy, the 13th Black Crusade, herald to a fresh age of nightmare, had begun. Stalwart Cadia would be the first to feel its wrath.
A Blackstone fortress! Without our shields, that accursed Hulk will scour Cadia clean!
Repairs to the null array are underway. We require only a matter of days.
The Magos asks for time. I have none to give. My wolves will buy all that he needs. Unearth my battle barge to prepare for my arrival. By the Fang, I'll not die without a fight.
Sven Bloodhound, stalwart of a brotherhood famed for their courage. But sometimes, courage is not enough.
Initialization failed. Null array inert. Insufficient power. Insufficient power. Rerouting. Reroute failed. Power surge. Processing. No data. Power building. Null array deploying.
Thus did Cadia earn respite, not through the bravery of Sven Bloodhound, nor the labors of Magus clan, but through the intercession of a mysterious benefactor. But the respite was short-lived. As the cheers faded, traitor warships blackened the skies. The siege of Cadia Secundus had begun. The forces of the Despoiler came in numbers uncounted, but the walls of Casa Crath held. Even in that darkest of days, the flame of humanity's valor burned bright. With faith burning in their hearts, the defenders held the Chaos Hordes at bay, uncaring of the losses they bore in exchange.
The universe is infinite and deadly. Beyond the veil lies only corruption. Far from the guiding light of the God Emperor, torn apart by the foul tempest that distort reality, the veil shreds open, and madness gushes through. My sacred duty is to keep vigil here, in the darkness that hides tainted worlds and terrible secrets. I will purge the unclean and raise their nests. I will not hesitate to enter our once proud bastions, now sanctuaries of the wicked and the alien. This is a haven for the heretic and the corrupted. But I will cleanse the abandoned halls. I will face what's lurking among the shadows. I am an Inquisitor. I shall fear nothing, for I am what you fear.
They scream and they run, but that's part of the fun, as the ogres are coming to get ya! Oh, there's chomping on necks, feeling our guts, they are swallowing trees, tearing, chewing, leaking all the more, the power and that's what we're doing for. Clutching and fighting, we kill for the more, the power and that's what we're doing it for.
For 10,000 years, the Emperor's Inquisition have fought a secret war to defend humanity. We keep vigil in the darkness. We hunt among the shadows. We pass judgment upon the mutant, the traitor, and the heretic. We purge the world of the taint lurking among the stars. We are Inquisitors. We shall fear nothing. For we are what you fear.